All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. It's time again for the Unstable Pick 6. We will take turns with our predictions of 6 high-profile games around the NFL, including a couple from the AFC South. So, let's go. All In Colts.
I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. And we are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep, we are no longer in person. You're right.
New
right
sign.
Here. Yep.
Get the flag up.
Colt sign back there.
Thank you for putting that up with me while you were home.
Of course.
Now you're back at school.
Yep, back at school.
Back to the
fall
grind.
Fall break is over. I want a special shout out to someone.
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna watch this, but happy birthday to Malia. My sister's birthday is today. Happy birthday to her.
Yes. Congratulations. You two have a special bond. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you have
something?
Go
ahead.
Okay.
Nope.
Before we get going, Colts Corner Bulletin. Forgot about that. Dallas Flowers, the guy who, the dive and everything, was released from the 53-man roster and was not on the practice squad either. And David Long was elevated from the practice squad, which means Sam Womack is officially starting opposite Jalen Jones.
Yes. Just as a reminder, we want you to be a part of this little game that we play. So we want you to comment your picks before Thursday night football. And if you get them all right, we will shout you out on next week's Pick 6.
Yep. As always, before we make our picks this week, let's take a look at last week's picks.
Yes. First off, I had the Falcons.
And I had the Bucks. I thought I had the Falcons, but I guess not. You ended up getting that one?
Yep. It was an instant classic. Kicker missed 2 kicks, really 3 when you count he had one on a penalty that he missed twice. And then with zeros on the clock, after a delay of game penalty and the confusion of the thing, he hit one to send it into OT. And then wide receiver 1 goes down on the third play of OT, only to have a 29-year-old receiver that no one had heard of to catch the game-winning breakaway TD.
Yep. Pretty sure he went to Prairie View A&M or something like that, right?
Yeah, and we've seen Prairie View play A&M play Texas A&M.
Yep, they got clobbered, but still saw them play.
Yep.
You want to take this next game?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. The next game we both picked the Vikings, and we got that one.
Yep. Jets, Vikings. Aaron Rodgers just looked old. I mean, jet lag and all this. Jet lag is a real thing.
Yep. And then Robert Saleh got fired.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes for the Jets, whether it's a good change, bad change. We'll see. Next game is Bills. They were in Houston playing the team from Houston. It was the H-Town uniform debut. I will say I like the look of it. It should beat the normal, but obviously not our say.
Yep, obviously.
Yep.
We both picked the Bills wrong on that one.
Yeah.
It was close. Came down the wire.
It was not close. And then it was close. And then 59-yard field goal to win it.
Yep. Not sure our kicker will be able to hit that one.
No, I don't have confidence in him.
And then we both had the Ravens over the Bengals. Yep. You were happy about this game no matter what happened in the end.
Oh, yeah, because I had I have 2 leagues that I'm in for fantasy. And I have Lamar in one and Burrow in the other. They both scored me a ton of points. So I'm happy with the outcome. I didn't really care who won the game. Good for the Ravens. They finally are using Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry sealed the game for them. So why not just use him more?
Yeah, I mean, to take that game all the way into overtime and then win it the way that they did, still back and forth in overtime, that's classic NFC North or AFC North football.
Yeah, for real. Next game was the Cowboys in Pittsburgh playing the Steelers on Sunday Night Football.
Which turned into Monday Morning Football.
Yes,
Because of the
it
delay.
did. It did. Barely Monday morning, but still Monday morning.
Yep.
We both had Steelers. We both got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Which was honestly, I think, a surprise for a lot of people. Pittsburgh had been on a roll, lost to us, and then they lose to the Cowboys. So
I don't know if you've seen any videos. It was a surprise to lots of the Steelers fans. Lots of them. Losing their ever-loving mind over the end of that game. Dak doing Dak things, but somehow not being quite disappointing. He'll save that for later, I'm sure.
Yes. Fair.
And then the last game. Do I have it? Do I have the I thought I did. Here we go. The last game, I had the Chiefs because of Chiefs things.
And I had the Saints because I thought surely the Saints can get it done. It looked close for a bit. Derek Carr was dropping dimes to everyone. And then no one was it was just falling between their hands right through the breadbasket. I'm like, what on earth? Derek Carr is on his back foot throwing you a ball, looking like AR kind of out there with his arm strength and dropping dimes, and you're dropping those passes.
Yeah.
And then he got injured because his offensive line was not doing offensive line things. And then Waiter or something like that came in, and he looked pretty good. Obviously, It was junk time, so you can't really say much about it. But still, he looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
Considering Taysom was out and he wasn't able to step in as quarterback because I'm sure he would have. And Spencer Rattler as well, who plays quarterback. I think he was injured, but he was the emergency quarterback if need be. And they had reported his injury to be questionable, but they had an emergency just in case. So they had an injured quarterback at emergency quarterback.
Right.
Which is not good to see.
But it does look like, from what I've heard, that Spencer Rattler may be the starter because it looks like Carr is going to be out a few weeks.
It looks like he's having oblique surgery, I believe, which
surgery.
I saw surgery, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not good at all. So that leaves me with a 12-18 record.
And I got 17-13.
Yeah, you are up by 5. That's a lot of room to come back, but there's still comeback opportunity.
We've only gone through 5 weeks. There's still 12 more to go,
games.
Plus the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will see how this goes.
I got time.
We've been tracking undefeated teams, but both the Vikings and the Chiefs, the only remaining undefeated teams, have a bye this week.
Yep.
So it frees us up to pick some other people and maybe highlight some people we haven't thus far, starting with the Niners.
Yeah, okay.
And the Seahawks.
Yep. Niners in Seattle.
Other team, in case you didn't know.
Yep, they are playing Thursday Night Football. It's the 90s drop shadow for the Niners, so a little bit of a throwback, and then the Seahawks throwback as well. So
it's like 90s galore.
Exactly. They're really bringing out the classic NFC West matchup here.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
It's tough to tell at this point because the Niners don't quite look like the Niners, and it's not just without CMC, and they just got beat by the Cardinals. in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough. And the Seahawks were doing really good, but I did point out that their 3-0 start were against questionable teams, and now they've run up against some decent teams and dropped a couple. So now they're 3-2. Niners are 2-3. Where's the game at? It's in Seattle. And so I hate to pick against the Niners, but I'm gonna pick the Seahawks. It hurts me to say that. It hurts.
I saw the pain in your eyes. I saw it.
Eesh. Makes me feel dirty. It's almost like picking Houston. All right.
I think the Niners haven't gotten everything together just yet with injuries and all that. It seems like they're struggling. And if you think about it, Arizona got such like a defined win because they got a field goal block, which is a massive impact. That's the difference from 3 points and you're up 2 points on the card, or you're up, I don't know, however many points you're up if you're the Niners versus you're down a touchdown and like you're down a full 8 points then because they scored the extra point.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of a field goal block, in my opinion. And the Cardinals aren't a terrible team at all. They're pretty good. They've been good. It's just they've dealt with injuries, and that's what's holding them back. And Seattle just does not look like they can run up against good teams. I don't care about the personnel. I believe in Kyle Shanahan. I think the Niners are going to get it done.
All right. I like it. All right.
Next game, Jaguars kind of at the Bears, playing in London. So
yes,
technically Bears are home, but it's not in Chicago.
Yes, and a bit of a correction from yesterday. I thought this game was in Chicago, and then they went to London. It's in London. And so, as far as I can tell, the Jaguars are planning to leave just after the hurricane leaves, not before.
Wow.
They think that their plane is going to take off a few hours after the hurricane takes off out of Florida. As if their plane might still be there. So once again, poor travel plans. If you got the chance, get out. Everybody is getting out. Mandatory evacuation. Just get out. Just leave for London a couple days early. Make sure your families are safe. Make sure they get where they need to go and go. Okay. I mean, wouldn't be the weirdest thing, I guess, that the Jaguars have done this season. Although they didn't let the Colts win, so that was unfortunate. But in this game, I said it's a matter of who can keep their quarterback upright. Mm-hmm. And I believe that I think the Jaguars kind of broke the seal a little bit, and now they got some ground to make up, and they're going to start in their familiar home away from home of London. So I got the Jaguars. What do you think?
I think I agree. It's a matter of who can keep their quarterback up, but I think it's also who's going to have more of the crowd in London. And like you said, Jacksonville has been there more times than I think any other NFL team has been. So I think Jacksonville kind of has more of a place there. So therefore more fans. So I think Jaguars are going to get it done.
All right. I'll take the next two games because I realized I just picked first twice in a row. So we'll even this one up. The next game is in Foxborough as Houston comes to visit. Nope, sorry. Well, we'll go ahead.
We can run with it.
We'll go there. As now the Patriots are going to be in their Patriot throwback uniform. I know you like this one.
Yeah.
Also reminds me of that old AFC East that the Colts were a part of. And Drake May is going to be making his first NFL start.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think about that?
I think I think it's about time that he makes a start. Yeah, they don't have the greatest offensive line, but I think they still need to put him out there. I mean, Caleb Williams didn't start out hot at all, but I mean, last week he played pretty well. But it still is the Patriots we're talking about, and they're going against Houston. I don't care where it is, what time of year it is. You're playing Houston. Houston's on a roll right now. They've only lost to an undefeated team. They're looking like contenders for the title. I'm going to go Houston.
All right. I think that you heard of trial by fire?
Mm-hmm.
This fire is blazing. With this offensive line combined with this defensive front and this coach versus that coach, and nothing against Gerard Mayo, but I think I would have thought Gerard Mayo would have had a better idea of how to do this. Tom Brady sat behind Bledsoe, and the only reason we knew about Tom Brady was because Bledsoe got hurt and provided the way. You say it's about time. I say it's about time we don't let the kid get murdered back there before he really has a shot, because offensive line is no good whatsoever. And they don't really have a ton of weapons, really, to be honest. Hunter Henry is maybe their best receiver, and he's the tight end. And then there's this formula that Green Bay has used quite well, where the new quarterback sits behind the old quarterback for 3 years, and then he plays.
Yeah,
it works. He doesn't have to go in there and hurt himself. This then becomes an organizational issue. All that to say, Houston is gonna win. Houston's gonna whoop up on the boy and teach the boy a lesson.
Yeah.
The next game now is a battle of very similar kind of quarterbacks. The Commanders are going up against the Ravens in Baltimore. What do you think?
This is probably one of the hardest games this week. I would venture to say probably the hardest game to pick this week, just because both teams are playing really well right now. Baltimore's record doesn't show it necessarily, but they're playing really well. Oh, by the way, we talked about 4-1 teams. I believe Washington's 4-1 as well, not just Houston.
All right.
They're at the top of the division right now, which no one expected at all.
Right.
It's hard. This is hard because it's in Baltimore. I believe if it's in Washington, I think Washington wins. The only thing that's holding me back is that it's in Baltimore. I think I'm going to stick with my gut and go Ravens here because it's at home, and they've kind of figured out a sweet spot now. So I think the Ravens are going to get it here.
I think it's going to come down to the run game. The fabulous quarterbacks that can throw, they can run, they can do all this, but it's really going to come down to the run game. And with Eckler, where he's at with injury and everything like that, I think that the stronger run game right now is definitely the Ravens. So I'm going to go with the Ravens, not to mention that they're at home.
Yeah. Next game. Now it's my turn to go or say first. Lions in Dallas playing the Cowboys.
Yes. The return to the scene of the crime of the report as eligible blunder, whether that is a blunder for the offensive lineman who reported, or whether that is up to Dan Campbell, or whether that was the referee. Very much up to question where the fault lies with that one. But they tried to run a 2-point conversion. It was called off because apparently somebody didn't report correctly. And it they ended up losing by 1 because Dan Campbell decided to still go for 2. Still, even though he lost yardage on it. Okay. I think that the Lions get the revenge in this one. The Lions are looking so much stronger than the Cowboys, and the Cowboys just can't seem to win at home this year. They can win on the road, but not at home. So I got the Lions. What do you think?
Sure. I think the Lions just have so much offensive power. Their run game is one of the best run games I've seen in a long time, actually, with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Montgomery did not look good on the Bears, but I think that was honestly strictly because of coaching. A lot of things is wrong
And
in
O-line,
Chicago.
maybe.
Yeah. A lot of things is wrong in Chicago because of coaching and O-line. But the Lions have all that type of stuff down. So you combine that amazing run game with the high-powered throwing offense that they have, and their defense is very good right now. I think they have the leader in the race for Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson, right now. So I think the Lions are going to get it here.
All right, last one then. This one just got really interesting. We got the Bills playing at the Jets. The Jets are going to be in what they're called their classic uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
They're all white helmet. It's on Monday Night Football, and this one is now for first place in the division. But the Jets just fired their coach.
Yep.
And their defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, is now the interim. Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. What you got?
It's in New York.
It is.
Which makes this harder to pick.
Technically, both teams are in New York.
That's true. But this is in the Jets Stadium.
Yeah. Technically, it's not in New York.
All right, we're not going to go with all these technicals.
Because the New York Jets are actually the New Jersey Jets.
Yep, the NJJ, not the NYJ. I think Josh Allen tends to perform really well whenever he's in prime time. And I think he's going to do that again. I think Josh Allen's going to play really well, play out of his mind. I don't know what the Jets offense is going to be able to do. They could who'd they play this past week in London? The Vikings.
The Vikings.
Okay, so they played a good team. But I still think that they don't quite have everything, and then especially with the head coach firing right before a hard week, I think that the Jets don't have it in them. I think they're going to lose, but not by a ton.
All right. They look in shambles, but they're playing for the division lead at their home stadium, and it's Aaron Rodgers. And he still has a really good 1-2 punch in his backfield. He hasn't lost anybody. I'm confused why this coach. I mean, last year, sure, we would have understood if Robert Saleh got fired. This year? Right now? This doesn't make sense. But when you get a new head coach in there and he gets his chance to infuse these new ideas all of a sudden and put in, and they got an extra week or extra day all the way to Monday. I think that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers have a little bit of something up their sleeve right now. They're going to get it done.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, as always, we want you to be a part of this. Comment your picks right before Thursday Night Football. Do not cheat. And if you get them all right, we'll shout you out next week on the Unstable Pick 6.
Yes, that is it for today. Tomorrow we'll be back with our fantasy stable look at Colts players, fantasy stats, and projections. Then we'll wrap up the week with our preview of the second AFC South road game of the year as the Colts head to Nashville to take on the Titans.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.